Well, hello there, folks. I'm live here in Montgomery County, Maryland, just in my backyard. Just decided to do a quick live stream today while I had some time. Actually, I'll try to make it a little longer this time. I'm a bit pushed for time on some of the different live streams. Today I've got a little bit of time, so just thought I'd either just do it in my backyard here, maybe walk around in the neighborhood, go visit some local palms. There's a couple not too far away, so just thought I'd have a little fun live stream here. Yeah, just a beautiful day here in the DC area, right around 84 degrees right now. Supposed to get up to the upper 80s today. We're really nice, low humidity, and it just feels perfect right now. Really enjoy it. So it's so nice to have all the heat here. It says it's supposed to, I think, cool off a little bit this coming week. Maybe it's more 70s weather, but this week's all been in the 80s and stuff, so really nice. Just amazing. See the Spanish moss here, doing well. I'm sure enjoying the heat and the humidity as it slowly comes into play here. Soon enough it'll be really brutally humid, but not quite yet, which is nice. And thankfully it seems like the mosquitoes are not here either. That's something people don't realize that DC has horrible mosquitoes, at least in my neighborhood, especially horrible. Really bad mosquitoes for like basically 6 months of the year, all the way till like the first frost. So thankfully, even past the first frost sometimes. So thankfully, we got all this warmth now without any mosquitoes. It's really nice. And it does definitely feel like summer today in the 80s. Really nice. Feels like pool weather. It's really awesome. So if you guys are in there, let me know how things are going, how the weather is. Hopefully it's nice where you are. I know the whole eastern U.S. just for the past few weeks now has been getting a lot of that heat, which is really nice. Up into Canada too. I know Ontario and eastern Canada got some nice heat too. So that's a nice thing, is that we may be we may be colder than our equal latitude on the west coast, certainly, but we definitely warm up a lot quicker because we're at such a low latitude that we warm up a lot quicker than places like Europe or other like Mediterranean climates and stuff, which take a while to warm up, and we get a lot hotter in summer. So I am not one to criticize the heat, because even though it can feel rough sometimes, sure, but compared to winter, I'll definitely take this heat. Absolutely love it. Hey, Ghost, good to see you in there. Thanks for joining in the live stream. The power. Oh gosh, I'm waiting till many uncover my trees. Oh yeah. Well, hopefully it warms up. Where are you located, Ghost? Oh, sorry, PNW, got it. So you're in the Pacific Northwest. That's awesome. Hey, Gem State Tropics, great to see you in there. How are things in Boise, by the way? I know you guys were getting some heat, at least some nice weather in the 70s and stuff. Hopefully it's not too cold. Obviously you guys, your climate can get a lot colder. It's like anywhere in the West, really. The temperature can drop a lot lower because you don't have that humidity that we have. The nice thing is that it also means that in winter and stuff, you guys can warm up a lot more than we can, which is really nice. But things are the heat is certainly back here. It is now for several weeks been in the 80s. It's right around 84 degrees right now. Low humidity today, which is a very uncommon thing to have. I can't remember the last low humidity day in the 80s. I think we even hit 90 like last week, and it actually felt cooler because of wind, which is almost unheard of. Usually it feels like 95 or something because of the humidity. So very nice. That is low humidity today. Pacific Northwest, that's awesome. Where in the Pacific Northwest are you, Ghost? Are you in Oregon, Washington, British Columbia? I heard it was below average for a while, so sorry to hear that. You're the one, I think I actually just responded to one of your comments because I was just going through and doing a few comments before I started the live stream. And you're the one, I think you said you had some Washingtonia, several of which were damaged, but it sounds like a couple of them are still looking good, which is very impressive for anywhere in the Pacific Northwest, so that's awesome. Love that. Hey, Cal, good to see you in there. 56 in London today. Yesterday was 66. That's awesome. You guys have a nice... London's just... I know I say it a lot, but it's just such an interesting and amazingly mild climate. And, we are much more unpredictable in our weather. We're in the 80s today, so we get a lot more heat than you guys do, but we also get colder. So in terms of palms, you guys definitely have a big advantage over us, which is really awesome. I'm jealous of you guys. 66 in London, that's awesome. 56 is nothing wrong with 56 degrees. That is a very comfortable temperature. It got very cold and dropped below freezing again. However, it's warming up again. Got it. Yeah, I know. I saw that. I follow the weather in Albuquerque a lot. I don't know why, but for some reason, I think it's also a zone 7 climate. But it also, because of the dry climate, they can grow like washies and stuff. I just find it a really interesting climate. Same with you guys in Salt Lake City. So I follow the weather out there. I have Albuquerque as one of the weather sites on my phone that I check the weather on, and now they're all really warm, like 70s, 80s every day. But they also, I know, got down below freezing recently, so or not too long ago. So hopefully, glad it's warming up again. I'm glad to hear that. We have had a good amount of days in the 60s, but so far below average. Got it. Yeah, it's the same with. I feel like that's true in a lot of places. I mean, we've been above average, but I know a lot in the West, California, Pacific Northwest, they've been a lot way below average for a while. California had a rough winter, as rough as they get out there. I mean, there's no real deep freezes in California to the extent that we get them here, but I mean, I was out there. I made a video on the coconut palm out there in Del Mar, which is way down there in San Diego. I mean, sorry, I say way down there. It's actually a very, very, very high latitude for a coconut palm, 32 degrees, I think, or 33, 34, something like that. The coconut palm looked pretty rough there, but it looks like it'll pull through. And there's several others down there that I'm interested to see how they're doing. But a rough winter all across California and here too. I mean, do I call it a rough winter? Because our general winter has been way above average. January and February were beautiful in the 50s and 60s. So like our general winter was probably maybe even higher highs than London, at least in like February and stuff. But we also got like down to like 6 or 7 degrees for like a couple nights. But that really makes a difference for the palms. So I don't know if I call it a rough winter or a mild, generally it was a mild winter, but we did have that bad cold period. So sorry, let me just see your guys. Pacific Northwest. Sort of, oh, by Tacoma, got it. Mediterranean climate. Yeah, no, it's amazing that it's still the Mediterranean climate way up there. It's like a cooler Mediterranean climate than Southern California, but it's very, very interesting. People think it's just rainy all the time. It's like London. People assume that London just rains nonstop, but that is absolutely not true. It's like rainy winters, but generally speaking, pretty low rain for the rest of the year. That's really nice. Well, I mean, if you can at least marginally grow washies there, then it's definitely a pretty mild climate. That's awesome. A few hundred feet up, zone 9. That's awesome. That is awesome. I've been to that area. I went there like maybe 6 years ago or something. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Love Seattle. Love that area. Salt Lake City. Yes, Cal. Yeah, Salt Lake City's in Utah. It's up in the northern end of Utah. That's where near where Southwest Hardy Palms is. Yeah, look up Salt Lake City. It's a really, really cool place. I've been there several times. They got like some of the best skiing in the world near there. They got like obviously amazing nature and stuff. Some palms up there, believe it or not. I never would have, if you'd asked me like even when I started my channel, if you could grow like the same palms we grow here in Salt Lake City, I would have said definitely no, because I know it's well known for the skiing, so I would just assume Salt Lake City was freezing. But I've been there in winter, and it actually is not that bad in winter. It was pretty mild, like upper 40s and stuff, and they can grow. I've heard there's even washies there that were unprotected, or at least very minorly protected. So it's really, I don't know if I'll call it mild because it gets these crazy temperature swings, but it's definitely a lot less brutally cold than I thought. It's I mean, it is kind of mild in a sense. And they get a lot of heat during the warm months, which is nice. Yeah, Salt Lake City, and it's located on the Great Salt Lake, which is this giant salt lake in the middle of the desert in Utah. It's a really cool city, and it's got the mountains right behind it, these huge mountains. Like Boise or like Albuquerque, like a lot of the cities out in the West. Sorry guys, let me get your comments. About 50 degrees right now, going to hit 60 next. Nice. High 70s the next 2 weeks. That's really, really nice. So that is awesome. And out where you guys are, I know it's really dry, which is just perfect. It sounds like the weather when I was in California. It was basically between like 50 and 75 the whole time. So that's just perfect. That is perfect. And you guys, Gem State Tropics, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that since you guys are pretty far inland, you guys get quite a bit of heat in the summer. I'm guessing you average probably at least in the 80s in summer, if not hotter. I'm sure at least parts of Idaho that are the desert, I'm sure get a lot of heat in summer. But Idaho looks absolutely beautiful. I would love to go there sometime. And there are some palms in it, which is awesome. There's some mild areas, just like Utah, just like northern Utah. There's some really mild areas. Obviously, southern Utah is really mild, but even way up north there, away from the coast, there's still some mild areas, some valleys, some cooler areas, which is really cool. Yeah, Banana Joe. Yes, Banana Joe's a long time. I'm a long time viewer of his. I've been watching his videos. He was like one of the first YouTubers that I watched, and one of the people who influenced me to start a channel. And yes, I've been watching his videos for many years, and I always join in his live streams a lot, watch his videos a lot, and he joins on here occasionally, which is awesome. And he's got obviously an amazing garden way up there in coastal British Columbia, which is, you know, considerably milder than here, which is pretty crazy, like 48 degrees north latitude. It's got a climate probably like the north of England, I'm guessing. Pretty mild, really, really nice. Do you have Butia? If you, yeah, no, they are hardy. They're definitely hardy. I don't have a Butia. I'm not huge into protecting palms. I probably honestly should have protected palms when I in some of the past winters. But as you can see, these are my two ones already pushing out a ton of growth here. These things spear pulled, I chopped right through there. These are pushing out new growth. This is a Wagnerianus, Trachycarpus wagnerianus. This is a Trachycarpus fortunei. So these were unprotected, but no, I'm not huge into protecting palms. I know of a guy in who actually reached out to me to say that I could come film his palms, and I may end up doing it. He's out in Northern Virginia somewhere, and so near here, Northern Virginia is in the DC area, and he has a pindo palm, a Butia, that he barely protects. I mean, I think he like wrapped like a frost cloth around it for like 2 nights or something when it got down to like single digits, but honestly, he barely protects it and it survives. It's such a weird thing how even in places like Virginia Beach, you'll see palmettos and stuff and pindos get damaged sometimes or even killed. And then somehow up in the DC area, you'll see some survive. It's just, I think there's just a lot of variance in hardiness. And I know there's different species, there's different varieties. Like the Florida palmettos are a lot less hardy than the North Carolina palmettos, just as I'm sure there's pindo palms that are from further south in South America that are less hardy, that are hardier than the ones from further north in the tropics. So I think there's just a lot of variation, and I think it sort of depends. But as I mentioned, there's also a guy in North Beach, Maryland, which you guys can look up North Beach. It's basically due east of DC on the Chesapeake Bay, so it's got a nice moderated climate right on the bay, probably a few degrees milder than here. Guy there who has, I think, like 3 palmettos. He's got several, at least 1 or 2 palmettos, and they've been there for like 4 years. They're big, full crown palmettos, unprotected in the DC area. That is still in the DC area, so that absolutely blew me away. And sorry, fire truck going by. And he also has offered for me to film his videos, to film his palms. So I think he's, I'm going to wait till the end of summer when they've really put out a lot of fronds. But they took single digit temperatures, no problem. And they just love our summer heat here. So they can actually survive crazy cold temperatures, like single digits, like stuff you guys don't get in the UK, a lot colder temperatures. Because we get that summer heat. And I know they survive in the UK and places like the Pacific Northwest too, but they will struggle in places like Vancouver or something, just because of that lack of heat, whereas they love our almost all of our weather here. And his palmettos, even after that cold blast, still looked great. Really, really good. Like basically it got as much damage as my Trachy, probably even less. They had like a bit of spotting, but that's it. Kind of like this, like a little bit of this like spotting on the fronds, but completely green and just absolutely amazing. And I really hope to get out and film those palms at some point, because to see big palmettos in the DC area, that is something that, even before I saw the pictures of them, I would not have believed to be possible. So pretty crazy what you can grow, even up here in these cold climates. Sorry guys, that's my DC, I don't know what it is, my palm rant, my palmetto rant. Yeah. But if I do get a palmetto, or a pindo palm, I've considered getting one in the past, but I would definitely have to protect it here. We're a bit north of the city, so I'm not huge into protecting them, and it's something I've dabbled with, but I haven't really seen any for sale near here, and they're pretty expensive anyways. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, if I was given one, I'd probably try it. But honestly, I've saw some in California that was like $19, and it was a pretty good sized one, and I even considered like shipping it here, but I just figured it's not really worth it. Mostly I'm not gonna be here for much longer anyways before I move out. So I'll just stick to, Trachy's, Sable Minor, and obviously I love zone pushing. So I'll try stuff like Sable Atonia. Like, look at this thing, absolutely amazing. So, I'm definitely gonna keep zone pushing, but Pindos is just one I don't think is really zone pushable here without protection, but I'd love to be proven wrong. And again, there is a guy growing one with very minor protection. So who knows? We've had an awful winter here. Yeah, I know you guys got those 2 cold blasts and been pretty bad. Only month so far that has been normal was February. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. And I honestly find it so surprising what can grow there, because I know you guys obviously have a mild climate, but the amount of rain that you guys get in winter, the fact that washies and stuff survived that, even survived the cold blast and stuff, is pretty amazing. So looks like most of the washies in CIDP in London, at least in the heat island, will pull through, which is really nice. Oh, you're zone 8A by the coast. Oh, but the coast is zone 9. Got it. So you're still warmer than us here. We're like zone 7, 7A, 7B here. So it's never hot here though. 70s are rare. That's crazy. Inland it gets hot. Got it. That's really awesome. Yeah, that's one of the cool things I like about the Pacific Northwest, and I experienced it in San Francisco too. Just how it never really gets very hot there. And again, I obviously have nothing wrong with the heat. It's where most of the most beautiful palms thrive, in my opinion. Obviously, I love the hardy palms too, and these ones love the heat too. But obviously going to the tropics, there's certain palms that'll only grow there, which I love. But I also do like not colder climates, but cooler climates like San Francisco or something. It feels a lot more pleasant to people, definitely, which is really nice. Yeah, 70s are rare. Yeah, that's really nice. Jet streams all over the place and not in a good way. Oh, got it. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Have a good one. Thank you. Thanks, Ghost. Doesn't Boise average low 90s? Oh, does it? Yeah. June, Boise, 80s and 90s. Late June, 90s, 100s. Wow. 110 degrees. We, I think, barely hit like 99 or 100 last summer, which is crazy. You hear about our summers being so miserably hot, which they are. I can attest to that. They're not the most pleasant. But the fact that we almost never hit 100 degrees is kind of surprising. It's just, even in these humid climates, even in places like Miami or Miami Beach, it just never, it's pretty stable in summer. It gets very miserably hot and humid, but you don't have those days like in Phoenix that can get to 120, which is obviously ridiculous, or hotter. That never really happens here. It never really gets much over 100, but obviously the humidity makes it feel a lot worse. But that is crazy. September 80s, and so that's nice. You guys get a long period of heat, which is awesome. We average 90s in July, but it gets way hotter in July. Jeez. Also, besides the occasional summer storm, we get no rain. So you guys must get the monsoons then. I don't know if that goes that far north, but I know like places like Palm Springs, Las Vegas, they get most of their rain, or a lot of their rain, in the summer monsoons, which come in, and they both cool things off, but they also make it more humid. In like July and August, I know Phoenix and all those southwestern desert cities get hit with the rain. It's interesting because places like Los Angeles, San Diego, which are Mediterranean climates, they actually get more rain than Phoenix, but they're like bone dry in summer, whereas places like Phoenix, by the end of summer, getting a lot of rain. And then winter, obviously, Southern California, the Mediterranean climate gets most of its rain, and then the Southwest gets, pretty little rain. So it's interesting how that all works, and how it all, how it's so different, but those climates are right next to each other. It's just fascinating. But Boise is definitely somewhere I'd love to go sometime. I don't know, it's funny, I don't know that many people from, who have been there from here, but I know a couple people that have been to Idaho, and everyone says it's a beautiful state. So I really hope to get there sometime. And I mean, just judging by the videos, seeing that there's crazy, massive Joshua trees there. Everyone should check out James State Tropics' channel, because he's got videos of these crazy, huge Joshua trees, and huge monkey puzzle trees, yucca, and all sorts of agave and stuff like that out in the high desert in Boise, which is pretty crazy. It is kind of amazing how mild it is, considering you guys are so far north of you're north of Nevada, you're north of all these more southerly states, and yet there's some mild pockets there. It's pretty crazy. Hey, Insect Wildlife, great to see you on there. Hope things are going well. Appreciate you joining in the live stream. Really appreciate that. What time is it? I'm 18 minutes in. So I think, guys, I am gonna start taking a walk. I'm gonna probably walk to some local palms, do a little update on that, and then I was debating just staying here, but I think I am gonna take a walk just to make it interesting. And I think it's just I've already done enough live streams from my yard. You guys get the point. I think obviously I'm gonna keep you guys updated on all this stuff, but I think I just am gonna take a walk. There's a few local palms that are not too far away, so start heading out to those. Probably be like 15-20 minutes till we get there, but obviously we'll talk palms in the meantime. And let me know. I'm gonna make a video on this. I've been meaning to for a while. My Camidori radicalis, I just got some seeds, so in hopefully not too long I'll have some germinated, but not doing too well. Look at this one. What on earth's going on here? And I still have yet to see a spear from this thing. Really weird. It's got some sort of, it almost looks like a rock, because when I look in here, and this is like all twisted. Oh, gosh, look at this. Now that I'm looking here, I can see it's actually starting to split. Sorry. You see this is starting to split off here. That's really unfortunate. Some sort of rot or something's going on in here. Really unfortunate. Oh, this soil's like bone dry. Okay, I gotta water this, but it wasn't a watering issue, because it was already suffering before then. Really unusual. Guys, I don't know what's going on, but very strange. Anyways, Sorry, let me get to the comments. Hey, Gem State Tropics, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Thanks for the shout out. Glad to join the stream. Really appreciate Gem State Tropics. That means so much to me, and I just really appreciate that. As I mentioned, I'm going to, I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I'm going to be heading to one of the local palm nurseries sometime soon. And yeah, or to plan around town. There's a fire station 2 blocks over from my house, which has some, it's somewhere that I've considered planting palms. I love to do some public plantings too. So, you know, when I'm gone from this place, there'll still be some palms here. So that's my goal. But thank you so much, Gem State Tropics. Really appreciate that. Appreciate the donation. Always great to have you in here. Hey, Clay's Construction Diecast. Great to see you in here. I remember seeing you on one of my past live streams. Appreciate you joining back in. Great to see you on here. Been so hot in Delaware. Palms love it though. Yes, I bet it has. That's awesome. Yeah, that area on like the eastern shore. I went to Astig Island, which is on the Maryland's eastern shore, just south of Delaware, and I went there in November, and it was hot and humid. Probably like upper 70s, but it was still really humid. So you guys get a lot of heat out there, just like we do. But I bet the palms love it. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Yeah. Really cool. So yeah, just heading down here. Something interesting, which I don't know why I never really thought of this, but the Japanese maples, it's so interesting because I'm used to seeing most of the trees here having green foliage, obviously, and that sort of reddish color. I don't know why, but I always associated it with like a fall foliage color, but it's I don't know, it just seems strange to see a tree get its leaves and the leaves are already that sort of reddish purple color. It's kind of crazy that they keep that color all year round, which makes them so popular here. Japanese maples are everywhere here. We have like almost like a bonsai one in our backyard. It's planted like next to the stairs in like this little sort of like tiny planter. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a little basin with dirt in it, and it's in a very shady spot, so it sort of keeps it like naturally bonsai'd. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, thanks so much for Gem State Tropics. Really appreciate that. That always means a lot. And yeah, I gotta use that money soon. I gotta buy some palms. I was actually trying to go there today, but it's funny. I've been following the traffic every day, just trying to figure out when it's best to go, because the place is it's not that far, and honestly, I should just drive it even with the traffic, but it's like a 40-something minute drive, maybe 42 minutes. But I looked it up, and it was like an hour and 10 minutes. It's just, you know, the Beltway, which is this the huge highway that surrounds DC. It's like a big loop, basically around the suburbs, and we're inside the Beltway. We're about probably 10 minutes south of it, and towards DC. So, but the Beltway just gets super clogged up. It was strange. I wouldn't expect it by midday to be really clogged. Usually it's by the afternoon, by rush hour, but already it was really clogged up. Look at this, by the way. Look at this Southern Magnolia. One of our, this is one of the staples of the DC area. These things are absolutely everywhere, but I will never, ever get tired of Southern Magnolia. It's like seeing a Washingtonia in LA. Never will ever get tired of that, no matter how many there are, no matter how common they are, no matter how much they naturalize or, I will never, ever get tired of them. They're just unbelievably beautiful. It's kind of crazy that these grow here. They're so unbelievably tough, and they really do look like something out of the tropics. There's 3 of them here. These things are completely evergreen all winter. Crazy. These houses are on a huge hill here. It's like San Francisco here a little bit. But yeah, it's just a beautiful day here. Really nice. Astig Island is beautiful. Oh, yes. Love that place. It is such an unbelievably beautiful place. My neighbor's actually going there right now, it's interesting. Yeah, it's just unbelievably beautiful. I went there again in November, and it was still really nice out. The one thing that I always heard is the rumor about it, and I can verify that it is 100% true. Is the mosquitoes were miserable. Like, it was as bad as mosquitoes there in November, were as bad as like midsummer here. I mean, it's literally a month from winter, and they were still horrible. I think it was just so mild by that point. But I mean, so the Astig Island's like a barrier island. So it's like the barrier islands go all the way down the coast. Basically from like from like Long Island all the way down to basically to Mexico. They wrap around Florida on the Gulf Coast all the way up the Atlantic. And Asti Island's a barrier island, so the actual island itself, which is like a north-south island running along the coast, and it's originally I think it was connected to Ocean City before they cut it off. The island itself is very windy, so the mosquitoes aren't as bad there, but there's an inland area across the bay from the island, and that area the mosquitoes are miserable, like, constantly swatting them off, and really, really not fun. So yeah, it's just that's one complaint, if I can harbor one, but I honestly would go back any day, even in midsummer. It was just such an unbelievably beautiful place, and I've never been out there. It's amazing. It's my home state, lived here my entire life, and I've never been out there. And I gotta say, I appreciate Maryland a lot more having been there. I've been in the western areas of Maryland, which are I think they're really nice and charming, and there's some beautiful mountains, some decently sized mountains out there. But I love the Eastern Shore even more. It looks just like somewhere, I mean, honestly, it looks like it could be in like South Carolina or something. It is such a subtropical looking place. I mean, it is subtropical. You got loblolly pine, bald cypress swamps, sort of towards their northern range on the East Coast, and all sorts of cool stuff out there. So believe it or not, yeah, but they're not. They basically care for them and not them they have. So you gotta be careful of that. It was awesome. Yeah, love Asti Island. Love that place. I have a Japanese maple in my yard as well. And midsummer mine turns. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Japanese maples are beautiful. They are honestly really, really beautiful trees. I honestly have no problem with them. I love seeing them planted here. I think they're absolutely beautiful. Just love them. Yeah, really, really like them. So there's some places where there's trees that are, in my opinion, overplanted. That you'll see everywhere, and there's are deciduous. But yeah, they're nice. They're really nice. God, it feels so nice out. I never really thought I never thought the 80s could be this comfortable. It's like 85 or something right now, but I don't know. Every year, just the temperature just fluctuates so much here that I forget what each season feels like. And yeah, our average high in summer is only like a few degrees higher than this, but it's just so much more humid that it feels more miserable. Anyways, hey Cal, 7:40 p.m. Still light here, so that's awesome. Passion fruit, that's crazy. That's awesome. I feel like there is, I don't know if there's how hardy the hardiest passion fruit is, but that is awesome that you can grow those. And really, really, really cool. That's so cool. Can't beat a southern magnolia. Seriously. Everyone has at least. That's awesome. Oh my God. In Delaware, I can only imagine they must be everywhere, because that's like, more subtropical than here, certainly. And oh gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, Delaware is a really, really cool place. I've only driven through these sort of industrial northern parts of the state, but I've never, it's like this tiny little state, but I've never been to the beach area. I really do want to go, because there's some really cool palms out there. I mean, the areas like Rehoboth, like, if they just get a few more palms planted, that could be like the next Virginia Beach. I mean, the Shoe Television is a palm YouTuber based in New York City. He goes down there and he makes videos, and the amount of palms I'm seeing there almost makes it seem, and just that he's found just by looking around, almost makes it seem like it could be the next Virginia Beach, like the next northernmost palm city on the East Coast. So pretty crazy, pretty remarkable. I'm just amazed by what grows there in southern Delaware. It really is. I think it is subtropical, southernmost parts of the state. You got wild loblolly pines, stuff like that. Definitely milder than southern New Jersey. I mean, Cape May is pretty mild, but the rest of the state, I think southern Delaware beats it. Love the magnolia plants. Got a nice. That's awesome. Gem City Tropics, yeah, they are absolutely the best. Southern magnolia, I would imagine there are probably a few of them around that other people plant. I know I've seen like in Salt Lake City that a few people have them there. So I wonder how common they are in Boise. Do you see them around a lot? That is so cool. That's so awesome. Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of them blooming around here. A lot of the deciduous ones, the deciduous magnolias too, are blooming. But yeah, that's awesome. Love that. Around 0 Celsius, right against the house. That's awesome. Yeah, they definitely grow in San Francisco, and I've seen them I've seen them in Southern California, of course. That's awesome, yeah. That is really cool. Zero Celsius, because that's the hardiness. Got it. And they're not hardy here, definitely not, but that's really cool. There's so many palms. Yeah, that's awesome. And Clay's Construction diecast, have you seen any, do you notice them just going around? I don't know where exactly inside where you are, but I know at least in like Rehoboth and Bethany, there's a lot of them. Do you notice like palms just driving around there sometimes? Because, you know, I mean, obviously Virginia Beach is like, you drive around on every street and neighborhood, there's palms. So it's literally like somewhere in, you know, in like does look like something in North Florida or something. But obviously I'm sure that, you know, parts of Delaware are not like that, but I would imagine that you might see a few of them driving around. I'm curious if you just ever come across them there, because it's pretty awesome. I mean, long-term tracking, stuff like that, really, really cool. And there's even a Pindo there and a camera ops, which I don't think is protected. And it looks great. I'm sure it suffered this winter, because this winter got down to probably like 5 degrees there, maybe a little warmer, maybe like 6 or something, 6 or 7. Like the same as here. They had the same cold blast that we had, where it got down to like 6 or 7 degrees here. But then they also had one that was sort of hit the northeast more. It didn't hit this sort of hit more towards the east, up near like Boston, New Jersey and stuff. And I'm assuming it hit Delaware as well, but that didn't hit us as much. I think it was like January, early February, where it got to like, you know, like probably close to 0 in New York City or something. It got really, really cold. Neighbor has magnolia. That's awesome. Seen a few set of magnolias here. Ah, yes, Gemsay Tropics. I remember seeing that one. I remember seeing that video. Yeah. Yes. So then, yeah, that's awesome that there are a few around. That's awesome. My neighbor has magnolia. Awesome. I bet there's tons of them in the UK. I wouldn't be surprised, because obviously they're fully hardy there. They're fully hardy here, and they're just beautiful. Such nice plants. I have a video of one in Zone 6A in Columbus, Ohio, right in the middle of Ohio. So they can definitely survive in just about every location where you guys are. And here too, of course. So, I mean, the fact that there's a big one growing in Columbus, that's kind of crazy. Pretty surprising. It's a nice area here. It's a nice little park here. You could use a palm in here. No, really nice. Revamping my backyard beds after 20 years, planting 2 NC Eco-type miners today. That's awesome. That's really, really cool, and those should do fantastic for you. So that's really, really cool. I'm so glad to hear that. That's really awesome. I don't know the Eco-type of my Sable miner, but they're all fully hardy here, and I'm assuming the same for, I mean, they're obviously definitely fully hardy in just about anywhere in Delaware. So that's awesome. Love that. There are magnolia flowers in February at the... Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I've seen them flowering. See, there's a huge one here. I'm gonna see if it's in flower, but they flower sort of sporadically here across the year. You'll notice them flowering at a lot of different times of the year. And in my opinion, at least that I've smelled, they're the best smelling flowers in the entire world. That I've smelled, at least. They're absolutely incredible smelling. So crazy. This is just an ancient one here. Look at the size of the southern magnolia. You can see just how much darker the leaves are compared to these maples they have in front. Look at the size of this tree. You'll see a lot of big ones around here like that. It's nothing unusual, but I just always appreciate these big magnolias. They are so beautiful. Look at these yards here. My acacia has nice yellow flowers at the moment. That's awesome. That is so cool. Gosh, I also don't know how hardy acacia are, but I have not seen any around here. That's really, really cool. Yes, I have been seeing more. That's awesome. Public plantings. There's a bunch of palmettos at a mini golf course. I've seen that. I saw someone post about those palmettos at that golf course. That is so cool. That is so cool. All still alive. Some got a little burned. That's amazing that they survived. That's really crazy. And you've seen public tracky plantings. I'd love to see those. Yeah, you should make a video of those palms. I honestly would love to see those, because it's just amazing how many palms there are out there. There's some gas station also I think it's in Rehoboth or something. They have a big trachea at, and then there's another, like, again, the restaurant that had a Pindo and a Camarops, and also there's a huge agave Americana which had like tons of pups under it, so clearly it had been there a while. Just crazy how mild it is there. Agave Americana, I honestly don't know much about their hardiness here. I'm assuming they're more zone 8A plants. I've seen a few here, but the ones that I saw down even by the National Mall, they look pretty mushy by the time I got there like a month ago after our cold blast. It doesn't seem like single digits is very friendly to Agave Americana. So the fact that they are reproducing, not only surviving but reproducing in along the Delaware coast is pretty amazing. That's so cool. I forgot the name of the plant, but yellowish orangish flower, huh? I don't know which that is, but yeah, there's a lot of nice smelling flowery plants. And when I was in California, it's amazing. Everywhere you walk in California, you got the eucalyptus, which smell amazing. And then I don't know what it was, but in some of the gardens and places that we were, you just walk down, walking through, and there's just these amazing floral scents everywhere. Just this, I don't know, the plants that grow there have some amazing smelling flowers. Here we have honeysuckle, which is probably one of the most common, which is actually invasive here, but the flowers smell amazing, and you'll see them in the woods everywhere here, and you can really smell those, so that's really cool. I do love honeysuckle. Oh, sorry, I love the smell. I don't think they're particularly attractive plants, and they're invasive, so I would never ever plant one here. Here's like a very wispy looking southern magnolia. It almost looks like a redwood or something. They really seem to sail through most wind. That's crazy. And again, I was mentioning that earlier, there's several palmettos at a guy's house in North Beach, Maryland, which is near DC. So, and they're unprotected for 4 years now, and they look good still. Crazy. So palmetto is definitely one for trying in the Chesapeake Bay area and in coastal, the Eastern Shore and the Delmarva Peninsula, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, Eastern Shore. Definitely worth trying. So it's crazy. Absolutely nuts. Agave Americana is everywhere here. That's awesome. Yeah, Cal, I bet there's tons of them there. Obviously fully hardy where you are. That is so cool. Yeah, no, if I ever go back to the UK, which hopefully I will at some point, I will I'm gonna be doing so many palmy videos and stuff out there, because it's just amazing what you guys can grow. Crazy. It's nice and sunny out today. One I need to get, yes, Clay's Construction Diecast, definitely try an Agave Americana. They seem fully hardy up there in coastal Delaware. Most of the soil is more clay though, which they wouldn't like. Yeah. That's true, but they seem to, again, the ones that I've seen at least seem to do just fine out in that area. So yeah, maybe you need to amend the soil a little bit. Probably make, I would probably plant it in like pretty sandy, rocky soil. But yeah, I mean, they seem to do well out there. I'm gonna be trying to expand my desert garden this year, add some more cacti and stuff, and probably add some gravel and rocks and stuff in there. So yeah, really, really cool. Is that a palm for a second? No, it's not. I almost forgot it was Friday for a second. So I realized that you guys, obviously, many of you guys are not off on Friday, but I have off today, so just decided to do a live stream in there. And yeah, appreciate you guys joining in there. Sorry, I'm being very neglectful in the comments. Yeah, definitely try an agave americana. Lantana Calippo Tutti. Wow, I've never heard of that, but yeah, Lantana have some beautiful flowers. That I know. So that's awesome. Yes, that's wonderful. I bet they smell amazing. All right, let's try to cross here. Oh, this creek looks really dry. I'm used to seeing a lot more water in it, but huh. Look at that beautiful sycamore there. Look at the trees. I'm gonna cross here. Sorry, guys. Lots of that here. It smells very nice. I bet. Wow, Seville, Spain is in the hundreds. My gosh, that is crazy. I would expect it to warm up so much slower because it's such a northern latitude, but I guess it's just a heat wave or something. That is crazy. It's amazing how hot it gets in. I was in like Portugal in the summer, and it's so cool by the coast. But it gets so much hotter inland. It's like California. You drive inland a little in those Mediterranean climates, and it gets really hot in the summer. It's not even summer yet. It's just spring. That's crazy in the hundreds. Just cross here. Wait to cross here. Have you been to hot? Wow, in the hundreds, that is miserable. Gosh, I've heard it gets crazy hot and humid there, but geez, that is just crazy. I've not been following that. No. How hardy is agave americana? Gemsted Tropics. That's really interesting because in your climate, you have the same zone as us. Probably yours, like zone 7A or something. I don't know. Honestly, how hardy is it? I've always heard it was more of a zone 8A plant, but that's here on the East Coast in a humid zone, and they're obviously native to a dry climate out in Mexico somewhere. So I would assume they're at least marginally growable. I would definitely try one because they're probably really easy to come by. They're like the most commonly planted agaves. So I would definitely try one because in your dry climate, even though it may get colder, they probably do better in a dry climate where you are. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how they do where you are because it seems like they're sort of on the edge of being hardy. Probably marginal where you are, but I don't know. With the dry climate, maybe they are hardy. Hey, blast off. Kiss the baby. Great to see you in there. Thanks for joining in. How are things? How's the weather where you are, blast off? My yard is very sandy, built around. Well, you know what? That sounds good for an agave. Sandy sounds good for an agave americana. So you must be right near the water then, or maybe I'm assuming if it's pretty sandy. I think the Ave Americana is zone 8A, probably 7B in a dry climate. Yeah, Clay's Construction diecast, that definitely sounds right. So yeah, definitely one I would try, Gem State Tropics, but may not be fully hardy where you are. I'm curious. And unfortunately, they just like turn to mush when they die. I've seen it here with the Agave Americana definitely this winter. Most of them were completely mush down by the Botanic Garden, which sucks. But you know, that's part of plant growing. I'm curious to see, there's a eucalyptus cinerea up here, which I'm very curious to see if it has any growth on it, because it was still blue like 2 months ago, but I went out and drove by it a few weeks ago and it was not looking good. So I'm curious to see if it'll recover. Not a eucalyptus I would recommend trying here. I've tried one and it died its first winter, and the one over there survived a few winters, but not a fully hardy species here. Definitely not. So, biggest Americanas I've seen are on the Cape Hatteras. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. Yeah, it's funny because they're from a dry climate, but the ones down in like places like the coastal south, they grow so huge there. Some of them are probably like 7 feet or something. And I've seen some in California that are literally like, 7, 8 feet tall. They're like just crazy, crazy tall. So, yeah, just crazy how massive some of those agave grow. It's California, they've probably been planting them since like the 17 or 1800s, so there's some huge ones there. Probably harder in the desert. I bet they are. Yeah, Cal, I'm sure they must be harder in the desert. And I would guess they have some decent hardiness where you are, Gem State Tropics. Ave Americana. Same as you, sunny, dry in the 70s. That's awesome. Yeah, right now here it's like 85. We're getting some serious heat, but 70s is perfect. Upper 70s, that is perfect. About 80, got it. Southeastern Pennsylvania, right, of course. That's awesome, blast off, yeah. Need to head out, but thank you. Hey, Gem State Tropics, thank you so much. Thank you for the donation. That really means a lot, and I will definitely be putting that to use soon and getting myself or for planting publicly, getting some trackies to plant around. And I've still got to do the public plantings. I have all those palms in pots right now. I'm going to be doing some public plantings around, trying to plant some palms at the library, the fire station. We've got some plants here, so really excited about that, and seriously appreciate that, Gem State Tropics. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining in, Gem State Tropics. See ya. Oh yeah, Palm Canyon. Yeah, definitely check that out. The Palm Canyon, that area in Balboa Park in San Diego. They've got so many crazy palm species there. Amazing what grows there. Such a cool place. Yeah. Thanks for joining in. See you, Gem State Tropics. Great to have you in here. Much of Southeastern Delaware. Sorry, I'm gonna head down here. This is the street. Let's see this. Much of Southeastern Southern. I got it. Coastal plains. I'm 10 miles. 10 miles. You know, that sounds perfect because you guys get a lot of heat inland, but you're also by the coast, so it's nice and moderated. That's pretty ideal for growing stuff. It's like the Pungo palms. Pungo palms is probably like, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 miles inland, and nice and mild there. So that's perfect. Yeah. Here's the path somewhere down here. Nice little path back here. You're not super far from me. Yes, no, totally. I was in Philadelphia, I think last winter, so, or like 2 winters ago now. But yeah, no, it is not too far. Probably like 2.5 hours. not bad at all. Ah, look at these, look at these. These are the, that's awesome. These are the quaking aspen. They've got their foliage back. It's amazing how rare these are here, because they're native not too far from here, but it's really, really cool to see these here, and I can't wait to get a video of these next fall once that color sets in. Look at that, just such beautiful trees. These are like the, these are definitely very different from palms. Like just where hardy palms will grow, quaking aspen starts to disappear. They grow in like these crazy freezing, basically zone 6 and colder, basically. But you will see a few of them growing here, and they don't mind the humidity. They don't mind the heat either. They're growing in places like the Southwest at high elevations, where it does still get hot, but they do like a lot of cold. And just such beautiful trees. That coloration is pretty stunning with the foliage. Very, very beautiful trees. Hey, Dara, great to see you in there. Southwest Ireland rainforest. Great to see you in here. Hopefully the weather's nice where you are. How are things in Ireland? 10 miles or so inland. April and May, yes, totally. Yeah, spring is probably my favorite time of year too. I love fall for the weather, but it's also, our spring I feel like is more unpredictable in the sense that, we still have some cold days and then it gets really hot. But fall also, our last fall was pretty cold, and spring I like just because it's, we have all that. It's not too hot yet, but we still have all the growing season ahead of us. So yeah, I love it too. I absolutely love it. Yeah, so nice, so nice. It is really hot in the sun here right now. Wow, I can feel myself getting sunburned. But yeah, it's pure sand, obviously, being that the Outer Banks is a barrier island. Right. Simulates a dry climate in a way. Totally. And there's lots of prickly pear and stuff out there, which obviously don't only grow in dry climates, but they love the sand. It is really interesting. I bet you they get less rain there than inland. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I'd be curious to know. It is so mild there too. I bet you Cape Hatteras in summer is not nearly as hot as it is inland. Yeah, exactly. The flooding there can be rough for the hurricanes and stuff. Looks so much like Pennsylvania. Looks the same. I know. I bet you this looks just like something out of Pennsylvania, because I've been to some of the areas around there. Yeah, a lot of the East Coast, basically from basically from Atlanta all the way up to like Maine. A lot of the suburbs look really similar, and a lot of the cities too. Sort of like the Southwest has its own distinct look. We have our own distinct look here. Very interesting. My azalea is blooming. That's awesome, Dara. Awesome. That's so cool. You should make a video on that. I want to see that. Where do you think your next palm trip will be? Cal, gosh, it's a good question. Yeah, so, well, yeah, I don't know if I can, gosh, that's a good question. I was out in California for several reasons. I was there for, actually, I looked at a couple of the colleges there I'm thinking about applying to, so, and then usually I'm in California for the doctor's thing, the program I'm part of, but, gosh, I don't know. I mean, maybe Virginia Beach again, just because I do want to go back. There's this lot there that has a bunch of sable minor just naturalized. It's like an abandoned lot. I want to try to dig some out and bring them home. Obviously being careful of the root ball and stuff, and making sure they stay intact, but, I don't know, I want to get down to Virginia Beach too. Virginia Beach is also the kind of place, speaking of like, the water moderating stuff, I looked at the weather in Virginia Beach, and it always looks cooler than here. Like, basically, even now, it like, once the heat starts setting in, when it's like 90 degrees here, it'll be like 83 or something in Virginia Beach. But then I went there, and it feels so much hotter, and obviously the humidity is probably a little higher too, but Virginia Beach, I didn't realize, of course, that, by the coast, it's a lot cooler, but once you drive, like, to, like, Pungo, or, like, 5-10 miles inland, it's, like, sticky, hot, and humid. It's just so much more humid. It's so much hotter, just a bit inland. So, I'd love to go do a trip there before the crazy heat sets in. Not that I wouldn't want to go in summer, of course I would. But, honestly, that's obviously a trip I don't really have to pay for. I just drive down and back. I did the last time 2 trips there as a day trip, so really didn't have to pay for anything, which is really nice. And, but I don't know. It's a really good question. I'm honestly trying to think, do I have any... I mean, honestly, the next trips I'm going to actually take, like, besides, like, a day trip, would probably be in summer. I don't even know where I'm going in summer. I think I might be going back to California again for one of the appointments. Again, I just go there a ton for the doctor's appointments. We usually stay, like, just one night. It's, like, just by the airport and then head out. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. a really good question. So let me see. Sorry, there's a poem right here, but I'm gonna want to get to some of your guys' comments before I do the poem reveal. You guys may know. I wonder if any of you guys recognize this place. I would never recognize this just from the surroundings, but this is the closest poem to my house, I think. Oh, and it's flowering. That's awesome. Sorry, I don't mean to hold you guys in suspense here, but just want to get to the comments. Where do you think? Sorry, I keep rereading these comments. Great will be 20 Celsius next week. Oh my gosh, that's nice. 20 Celsius is perfect. It's like 30 something Celsius right now. It's right around 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So I don't know what that is, like 32, 33 Celsius. No, probably a little less than that. Probably like, 31, 32 Celsius. No, wait, is it still less than that? Gosh, I'm getting my temperature confused. I think 25 Celsius is 77 degrees. So then 85, yeah, it's probably like 30. Yeah, I would think it was like maybe 30 degrees Celsius. I don't know. I'm curious. You guys can let me know. 29, 30, maybe something like that. Anyways, great will be 20 Celsius next week running. Wow, half marathon. That's so impressive. Dara's a big runner, and he runs a lot of these marathons and half marathons and stuff like that. That is so impressive. That is just so crazy impressive. I honestly wish I could do that just to say that I had accomplished something like that, but I don't think I have the strength or ability to do that. So I am so impressed by that. Might do a video on the Azalea next week. It's a variegated. Oh, that's awesome. I want to see that. Yeah. Hey, Igny, great to have you in here. Thanks for joining in. How are things in the north of France? How's the weather, by the way? Because Cal was just letting me know that it was like 100 in parts of Spain. So I know northern France is a lot cooler, but you guys must be getting a little bit of heat at least. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you, Igny? Great to see you in here. Dara, all you guys, thanks for joining in. Really, really always appreciate that. And it really does mean an incredible amount that you guys take the time to join the live stream. And you guys just make it so much fun, so I absolutely love it. But anyways, enough suspense. Here's the palm here. You guys may know this house here. Very interesting looking house, and very, very nice palm. It's been here for a while. This one, for some strange reason, maybe it's just a little bit less hardy Fortunae, but this took by far the most damage of any of the trackies that I've seen in the area, besides my tiny little ones. The other trackies here look either completely undamaged or like slight blemishes on the fronds. This one, as you can see, the vast majority of the fronds were just completely crisped. They took off a lot of them. Maybe some of them had a little bit of green, but they still took off a lot of them. You can see even these ones are pretty, got a bit of damage, but that spear has already been grown a lot. So you can see pushing out all the new growth, and you can see it flowering there. So obviously completely alive. As I expected, it's recovering nicely. And yeah, really, really nice. So that's a really cool palm, and awesome to see it doing well. Yeah. Well, but tomorrow is a stormy day. Got it. Yeah, it is. Well, is it warm where you are, Igny? I'm curious what the weather's like. I'm guessing it's probably in the 70s or something. But yeah, it's interesting. Every time it gets, obviously, as usually happens anywhere, our most humid days so far have actually been slightly cooler days where it's rained. Every time it's in the 70s and rainy here, brings the humidity, so it feels a little bit warmer. This time of year, usually, obviously, all summer long, it's crazy humid, but this time of year, it's actually the only time it feels warmer from humidity is when it's like 75 and rainy, which we've had a few days like that. But every time it's like this, like 80, even up to like 90 and sunny, it still dry and feels cooler from the wind, and in the shade just feels perfect. So it's really interesting. It's like a southwestern type day. It feels like New Mexico or something. But yeah, just crazy. Really not that hot out right now, even though it's like, mid to upper 80s right now. Hey, we have a split in the winds in Europe. Got it. So it sounds like the UK is getting a little bit of that cooler weather, whereas Southern Europe's getting some crazy heat. Yeah. And Cal, your trip to the Canary Islands just sounds amazing. That is probably, if money was not an expense, if I could go anywhere in the world for palms at least, that's probably where I'd want to go, because and where I want to live too. But the problem obviously is, obviously I have to learn Spanish, which I do want to do. I would love to learn. I do want to learn Spanish anyway, just because how prevalent it is everywhere. But besides that fact, and I'm sure a lot of people speak English there too. But also it's just, since it's so isolated from the rest of the world, I'm not sure I want to live there. It's what I like about living in a place like Southern California, is that you can drive to Phoenix, you can drive to Oregon, you can drive to into Mexico, you can drive so many places. You know, the Canary Islands, I know they're big islands, but obviously you got to fly to most places like Europe or, you know, parts of Africa or wherever. Or I don't know, I'm assuming there's no boat to the Canary Islands, but it definitely is an appealing place. And in terms of climate, there's really not much of a better place in the world to grow palms than the Canary Islands. It's basically like Southern California with like 5 to 10 degree warmer winters, meaning that you can grow coconuts fully hardy there in most places along the coast. I'm assuming there's Christmas palms. I didn't even really, I must be pretty common there. The one place on earth that I think might actually be milder, although I want to be corrected on this, because I know, you know, people talk about the Canary Islands because it's obviously, you know, has such a great climate. It's located off of Morocco, and it's just got this great coastal climate. But Cape Verde, which is south of there, I would think would be even milder, but I'm not completely sure on that, because I know the Canary Islands, you know, it's obviously crazy mild, but you know, obviously the lows are probably like in the 40s, not in the 40s, maybe in the 50s in winter. But I would think Cape Verde might actually be truly tropical, but maybe it gets hotter there. Like I don't know if you'd be able to grow like any cow palms and stuff like that in Cape Verde. So because I know it goes like Madeira, Canary Islands, and then Cape Verde. So it's these 3 island chains with all the palms. But I'm very curious about that. Very curious. This is one of the cool palmy local houses here. They had a two trackies in a pot last year. I'm guessing they were underwatered or something, and they both suffered. And one of them had spear pole. Looks like it died, but look at this. They got a Pindo out front, and now they got a Sable. That is just awesome. These people really know what they're doing. Jeez. I should say hi. So this trachea looks like it really suffered. Might have even been killed out in front. Let's take a look at this. Let's go one by one through these palms here, because it's pretty cool. But yeah, that next palm trip, I honestly have no idea where. Maybe California, like by sometime in summer, but I don't think there's gonna be any international. I've only done like one international trip in like the last like 5 or 6 years, I think, which was obviously to visit family and stuff in Portugal, which was awesome, and visit friends in France, which is just so much fun. So that was really cool, and cool to see those climates out there, see those palms. There's one thing which I really wish I could have filmed, but I was only unfortunately spotted it on the highway on the way to the airport. But it was kind of surprising. I wouldn't expect to see them there. At least, you know, I expect them to be at least extremely rare there, which they definitely are. But I saw 2 gorgeous royal palms in a yard in Lisbon when I was driving to the airport. And Lisbon, the way I describe Lisbon's climate, is kind of like between San Francisco and LA. Like it's definitely cooler than LA, but it's probably a bit warmer than San Francisco. At least in summer it is, and probably a little bit in winter. But still, 2 gorgeous royal palms there. And that was just really cool, and I just so wish I could have gotten a video of that, because that is seriously far north. That's like the same latitude as here, like 39, I think. Even further north than the video that I got of that one in San Jose, California. So very, very impressive. But anyways, I don't know how I even started that tangent, but let me get you guys comments. Sorry. At my home, we have 20, 22 Celsius, but now we have cold wave. Oh, gosh. Down to 15 Celsius a day. That doesn't sound too bad. 15 doesn't sound too bad, but that sounds pretty nice. 2022 is perfect. Southern Europe's getting heat waves. We have below average. Got it, Cal. Yeah. The Canaries aren't as isolated as Hawaii. No, Hawaii's crazy isolated. I would never live in Hawaii, and I think it's really expensive. I would never live there simply for isolation. Every other reason would draw me there. It is just such a great place. It's got just about it has like every climate on Earth, I think, besides true tundra. It has like subarctic to tropical rainforest. And then you've got like desert and stuff. So it's incredibly appealing, but it is just so isolated, I think. I think I would just want to be somewhere that I could, you know, drive places and stuff. But, and you even have to take like a plane or a boat from island to island. So that's not for me, but I mean, it is pretty appealing, and that's a place I really seriously want to go, Hawaii. Actually, sorry, when I'm talking about the best climate on Earth, Hawaii probably has the best climate on Earth, like somewhere, probably like on the dry side of Hawaii. Canary Islands aren't as isolated. You can get boats. Oh, that's nice. There's boats there. Okay, that's kind of surprising. I didn't know that. I guess it's not that far from Europe, and it's really close to Morocco too. There were a few German cars on the roads. Wow, that's crazy. German cars in the Canary Islands. Yes, Cape Verde is milder, but it's in the true tropics. Yeah, so is it more humid, Cal? Because I always thought it was a desert as well, but it definitely might be hotter, which is a problem. And then Madeira is also like a few degrees colder, which is part of Portugal. So I'm curious about those. Like, how do they compare? I'm assuming the Canary Islands is milder than Madeira, but is Cape Verde just like too tropical and too hot to grow like all those heat sensitive palms Nicao palms and Hawaii and that sort of stuff? Or do they grow in Cape Verde? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of really many palms in Cape Verde, but I'm sure there's tons. And is it humid? I'm curious if it's like more humid than the Canary Islands. I'm sure it's got a mix of microclimates and stuff, but I always thought it was also really dry. Cape Verde is 14 degrees north versus 28. Oh my gosh. Okay, then Jesus, I must be really confusing my, Cape Verde is really, what's that island chain? No, it must be Cape Verde that I'm thinking, but that's a huge difference. 14 versus 28. Okay, that's crazy. Wow. 10A oceanic, so not so dry. Then Valencia, which is 10B Mediterranean. Oh, that's, okay, so that's, yeah, got it. Yeah, no, all those areas of Southern Europe are very, very nice and mild, although they are all cooler than Southern California. It's interesting. Southern California is definitely warmer, but they are pretty similar, which is really nice. Yeah, Lisbon's got a great climate. I would be obviously incredibly happy to be able to grow palms there. The only problem is the red palm weevil. That's a huge problem. And Igni, I'm sure it's not up where you are, but I would imagine, I know I've heard it's on the west coast of France now, and it's all across the Riviera and stuff, is the red palm weevil, which is just killing all the Canary Island date palms there, and I heard it kills some other species too. And then South American palm weevils now in Southern California, so they've got palm problems everywhere, unfortunately. All those weevils, spreading the problems. And the weevil, unfortunately, in Europe is just so widespread now that it can't really be stopped. The one in Southern California is not that widespread yet, but I am worried about it, potentially expanding and just becoming more of a problem. I'm honestly curious to see just how that problem is handled. I really hope they are able to stop that weevil before it spreads like the red palm weevil. Sorry guys, I'm gonna get to this stuff in just a second. Let me the coldest month in Cape Verde is 80 Fahrenheit. Wow, okay, so that's really warm. Okay, so that's definitely not Hawaii territory. Okay, then yeah, I think Canary Islands probably is like the best climate, at least in that part of the world. Gosh, I had no idea that Cape Verde was so far south. Lisbon is, sorry. Madeira is cool and humid. Got it. So that makes sense. Got it. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Okay, so yeah, no, I mean, they're all interesting climates. I know there's coconuts in Madeira and all the way down to Cape Verde, but that's interesting that they're all very unique. Yes, in France we have red palm weevil. Yes, I've heard about that in the butterfly. So, Igni, do you know, is there any efforts being made to like stop the weevil and the butterfly? Are there any successful techniques in stopping them? I know you can treat your palms, but that's like you have to basically treat them for the rest of their life. Are there any ways of eliminating them, or is it just like all over France now and it can't really be stopped? Because it's just terrible. And the biggest problem, honestly, I honestly think at this point the smartest way to deal with it, there's two ways to deal with it. One way is to introduce a predator from the weevil's native habitat. Introduce a predator that will go and attack the weevils and keep them in check. But that also has problems, like the predator could start attacking other native beetles and stuff. I think the best solution, honestly, and this is definitely not doable, but the best solution probably is just to let the Canary Island date palms that are there be killed by the weevil, or keep treating them. Keep treating the ones that are being treated. Let the ones that are being killed by the weevil die, because they're already dying, unfortunately, and just have a ban on Canary Island date palms throughout all of Europe. I mean, obviously it's impossible, but if they somehow just found a way to let the weevil work its way through and basically either kill or be stopped from killing anything in its way, and somehow not have enough food and be able to be successfully eliminated, then maybe in 30 years or something, they could start replanting Canary Island date palms. Now, I understand that's never going to happen, but I honestly do think that's the smartest way. And correct me if I'm wrong, I want to hear your guys' input on this, because this is something I've been doing a lot of, I've been just reading a lot about, because I'm very curious about these weevils and this horrible destruction that they bring to these palms, and the amount of money that it costs to remove a, 100-foot or 50-foot Canary Island date palm, regardless of the size. It costs a ton to remove them, thousands of dollars. thousands of euros, however, whatever currency, it costs a ton. And it's just a huge problem. So I'm very curious. The one in Southern California is also a huge worry because I know there's definitely more efforts being taken to try to stop it, and so far it's only in San Diego County, but it's also in Tijuana, so it's an international problem, and they really have to have action taken by both sides of the border to try to tackle the weevil. This weevil is just killing all those Canary Island day palms, and now it's being found killing other species like Bismarckia and Prochardia, stuff like that. So, not not easy to solve, definitely. Be able to grow any cows on the mountains at Cape Verde, but not at sea level. Yeah. Cow, no, definitely that makes sense. Yeah, that's like everywhere. I'm sure in Hawaii you go up to a high enough elevation you can grow any cow palms, but sea level does not seem doable for them, at least in like a crazy humid climate. Yeah. Cape Verde, there's hardly any pollution either. That's pretty nice. Yeah. So the UV is crazy high at 14. Yeah, no, I bet there is. That's a good point. Like Southern California, I think the UV is constantly really low because just the amount of smog and stuff in the air. And also, I mean, it's just obviously so much cooler, and the amount of smog in the air keeps the UV low. The one benefit to the smog, I guess. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what you guys think about that. About the weevils, if there's any way to stop them, because right now I honestly have not heard much about that. But I'm very hopeful that something can be done to stop those weevils. They're a huge problem. I mean, seriously. Anyways, guys, just wanted to share this with you. Might end the stream here. I wanted to continue the stream maybe for a little bit, but I probably will end it soon so I can get a video of all these palms after I'm done and then head home. Yeah, but these are really nice yard here, and it looks like, so they've got this thing. I don't honestly know what this is, but it looks like an agave to me, some sort of agave. Really nice to see. You can see it's starting to recover here. They had like a plastic bag over it, which probably honestly is not a smart idea because that just traps moisture. And I'm sure it's a hardy species here because it survived fine in a plastic bag. They got these 3 Euchre rostrata here, which are really nice. All the prickly pear here, which is starting to plump back up. This is our native eastern prickly pear. You can see the fruit on it. So this is actually a native East Coast species of prickly pear. They've got another one. All this stuff's growing back now. There's another prickly pear back there, which I can't quite see. It's somewhere back there. Really cool. Anyways, love those prickly pear. And then back there, they've got a trachea, which unfortunately looks like it might have kicked the bucket. I don't know. I mean, obviously, give it time. Those fronds are still green, but no spears coming out of that thing yet. So hopefully it recovers. They've got several prickly pear here. One there, and one there. And then they've got bananas, which are coming back, which is really nice. Pindo there, and then look at this. They got this thing just came out. The pindo they put out, I think, like a month ago, but I haven't seen the sable yet. Some sort of sable here. Looks kind of like a sable minor to me. Either way, really cool. So these people clearly know what they're doing with regards to palms, and really awesome. So just wanted to show you guys this yard here, which is really nice. Really nice. So sorry, I'm gonna sit in the shade for a second. Jeez, that sun is the heat really does catch up with you quickly. Wish I had water. I think there's palm weevil in the Canary Islands, but the damage doesn't look... Oh, God, it's made its way to the Canary Islands now. That's horrible. Yeah, it must be in, like, Madeira and stuff like that, too. Wait, so if the weevil's in the Canary Islands and it's killing Canary Island day palms, that's a huge problem because it's going to start killing the native stands of the Canary Islands. That's horrible. Gosh, I really hope that weevil is just... I mean, how do you stop it? I don't know. I think there's palm weevil in it. The top of the mountain today. 17, wow. 12 at sea. Okay, so that's crazy strong UV. I'm curious to know what the UV averages in Miami are, but the worst sunburn I've ever gotten was in Miami, and I got a sunburn so bad because I didn't wear. I think I missed some sunscreen on one part, like my arms or something, and my arms, all the skin peeled off on my arms, and that was not a fun experience. But I would go back to Miami any day, even in the middle of summer, as much as I would regret that, at least from a sweating standpoint. I would definitely not regret it from a palm standpoint. So I would go to Miami any day. It's one of my favorite places, but the sun there is intense. Like I've never felt. I can be in Southern California for hours with no sunscreen, not get sunburnt. Maybe not for hours in summer, but you know what I mean. It's a lot less strong there. But if I go out for like 1 or 2 hours in Florida with no sunscreen, I will be sunburnt like crazy. Yeah, this like my arms just got completely burnt. Not fun. They banned all palm imports there. That's a smart way to do it. They should really do that in Europe, but the problem is that people just don't know. Like people are never going to realize that, if they see palms dying, they're not going to realize that it's a weevil that only attacks Canary Island day palms. It's not doing research. Like when I was in Europe, I still see plenty of healthy Canary Island day palms around, and you got to wonder: are they all being treated, or are they just palms that haven't been attacked yet? And they're just going to prolong the problem, and then someday down the road, they're going to be killed and then have to be removed. And you see them naturalizing everywhere, and you see young ones being planted everywhere. So it's a problem that will it ever be solved? I honestly have no idea. No, I'm no expert, but I'm just curious. I'm honestly curious to see what happens with the weevil. And my hope, I have more hope for the one in Southern California, that the South American palm weevil can be eliminated. That I'm really hoping for. And the damage is not as bad as you'd think. And so, it's not like in Europe. I drove around San Diego where the problem is at its worst, and you'll see a few of them that are dead. But honestly, the people there are more aware. There's posters everywhere that inform people about the weevil, that most of the dead ones have either been removed or the live ones have been treated and stuff. So it's not too bad there. But it is definitely, you basically have Canary Island day palms from San Diego, and the other problem is they're going to start spreading south. They'll start spreading south into Mexico. People always talk about them spreading north, but they'll always spread south, and then they'll start, they'll just be there to reinfest and go back north. But the problem is you have Canary Island day palms basically all the way up the coast to Oregon. So they literally could go all the way to Brookings. Maybe there are some natural barriers. I'm sure like the redwoods will block them out. So they probably would never spread to Brookings, because you got obviously, miles of coast that are just completely undeveloped, and they're all redwoods and stuff. But it is a huge problem, and it definitely could spread up to like the Central Valley, to the date industries there. Date industries in the Coachella Valley, and it could spread all the way up to San Francisco. And it is not it is just a really big problem. And on the one hand, it seems like it could still be manageable, but on the other hand, you hear about all these people who have their palms infested now. I mean, is it really possible to eliminate every one of those weevils? It's been done in the past, but the problem is just not enough people are aware of the situation. You can only import seeds there, but you cannot import palms from the Canary Islands. You can only import seeds there, but you can import palms from the Canaries, but not to them. Got it. So that makes complete sense. And but the problem is, if the weevil's already there, then the damage has been done. But definitely smart to do that. But I am curious to see what happens with that, because I did not know it was in the Canary Islands. I've heard it was in like some of the islands in the Mediterranean. I think it's in Malta. It's all over North Africa and stuff. So it is all around. It's a huge problem. I actually saw an article, by the way, Cal, that someone had spotted one in the UK, but I think the article was from years ago. So I think it was probably killed before they could actually, before it spread. But there must have been reports of them in the UK, but I'm sure they've all been stopped so far. But that's my hope, is that they never ever spread in the UK. Thankfully, you guys have a water barrier, but you never know if they could hop over. I think Miami, the sun is about the same strength as the Canaries, just by being further south because of the extra pollution there. That makes sense. It was pretty brutally strong, especially by the water. I was in the water, so it reflects the sun. So it's obviously strongest there, but it was pretty brutal. You can... but as you go above sea level, the sun gets stronger, which you don't see. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's funny. You'd expect it to be less strong because it's cooler above sea level, but it's the complete opposite. It actually is stronger because it's obviously you're closer to the sun, you're going higher up. So that's crazy. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I might have to end it soon. I'm gonna head back home now, but I'm gonna probably get some videos into these two palms that I've shown you guys here, just as we head home. And yeah, I really appreciate all you guys joining in there. I really appreciate that. Cal, Igni, Southwest Island Rainforest, Dare, appreciate you joining in. Last off, Place Construction Diecast. all you guys, Gem State Tropics, thank you so much for the donation. Really, really appreciate that. And I appreciate all you guys joining in. Really, really appreciate that always. And yeah, thanks for joining in. See you guys later. And yeah, stay tuned. I got more videos on the way of these palms, and I'm gonna try to get to some of the new sites in DC that I haven't seen yet. So that's exciting. The garden centers in the Canary Islands have so many palms. That's so cool. 20-foot royal palms. That's amazing. The climate there is just, it really is unbelievable. It is pretty incredible. Yeah, again, I just think, yeah, it just looks like such a beautiful place. I really do want to go there. And the amount of royal palms there sounds awesome. It's like Southern California. I noticed quite a bit of royal palms, but they really just should be sold more because there's such great palms for Southern California. They do so well there. And again, the Canary Islands, they probably grow even faster because obviously they get more heat and stuff. So that is just awesome. And I am definitely want to go there at some point. Canary Islands looks like a really cool place. So appreciate you guys joining in. Yeah, thanks for joining in. I think in Essex someone started a palm. Yeah, I feel like that's the one I heard of. But they were destroyed. That's good. That's what it actually happened in Laguna Beach, California, in Orange County. They not only have the South American palm weevil, but someone actually spotted a red palm weevil infestation in one of the Canary Island day palms there. And this was like 8 years ago, I think. And they took down the tree. Maybe it had spread to other trees, I don't know. But they actually completely eliminated it from Southern California. So before it could even get established on the continent, they completely eliminated it, which is wonderful. But the South American palm weevil now poses the same threat. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that it was stopped, and I hope it never spreads there. I hope the South American palm weevil can be managed, and the red palm weevil too. So that is my hope. But yeah, I appreciate you guys joining in. Thank you so much, Cal. See you guys later. Like, subscribe for more videos. Stay tuned and take care. Thanks for joining in.